The Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection is a disaster. The launch has gone viral for all of the wrong reasons, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at what has been going on, from it being mostly negatively reviewed on Steam, mass refunds and more. But before we do get into everything though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on this game, including patches, because this game is going to need quite a few. So, the past 24 hours have been quite the whirlwind. Yesterday I made a video going over the game on the Xbox side of things because I had access by changing my location to New Zealand, and for the most part the game seemed fine, multiplayer seemed fine. There were some weird issues such as the wrong sound effect for the Battlefront loading screens, the font being completely wrong and just looking ugly. As we suspected, AI upscaling is in play and it makes the game look worse in some cases, better in others, but things like the movie clips just look silly. And then in-game there are some weird inconsistencies, but then in other cases it's better, so it's a weird trade-off. There weren't too many people online, so I wasn't able to gauge how good the multiplayer was. There was just mostly empty lobbies. Sometimes we get maybe 20 people into a 64-player lobby, but that was pretty much it. Then I went to bed and checked the Battlefront subreddit, and the entire front page is just complaints. And I was like, what has gone wrong here? Well, it launched worldwide at midnight on all platforms, the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And it seems like it's just a dumpster fire, so I decided to take a look at what's been going on, and the media are now reporting on all of these issues. It's mostly negative on Steam. It's not just a PC problem going on here. Plenty of people are having issues on multiplayer on consoles as well. It actually seems like the Switch version is pretty decent, a better way to play than the others right now, which is ironic. But I was playing on Xbox earlier, and it was a much worse experience than what I had received the day before. This is because so many people are playing, but there are only so many servers. At times you can't even just find a game. In others, you'll join a game and it'll be incredibly laggy that it's completely unplayable. On top of that, the ending cutscenes of the Battlefront 2 campaign are completely absent. I don't know if this is a bug, or if this is just an oversight. It probably is a bug, but one of the main key selling points of the original Battlefront 2 is the great Journal of the 501st campaign. So many of us loved playing through that, even if it's pretty basic for a campaign, but just Tem's voice, the flashbacks, the script, it was great. And you'll complete a mission, and it just goes on to the next one. And I was streaming this last night, and people were like, where's the cutscenes? The game starts with them, you start each mission with them, but there are none at the end of missions. It just skips part of the story each time you do a mission. It doesn't make any sense. And something like that should have been caught. I suffered more bugs than I have done in years streaming DICE's Battlefront 2. In just a few hours, I experienced more bugs than years in that other Battlefront. It's insane. Yes, it is the launch of the game, but these things should have been tidied up for the most part. There are some really glaring issues that just can't be ignored. They're very basic. Things like looking through a scope. It's a 4x3 scope, not a 16x9 scope. The game was supposed to be ported so it works better on widescreen displays. We're not back in 2004, but those sort of things just haven't been sorted out. And it's annoying because I was really hoping this would be a fantastic way forward for the Battlefront franchise. Please not have a launch without a controversy, but no, there is a lot of controversy, and like I said, it's mostly negative on Steam. The media are talking about it, the fans are very upset. There are people apologising to me in the comments of my videos saying I was right for making that video a few weeks ago that people complained about. I got a lot of complaints saying I'm being too judgmental, I'm nitpicking this, that and the other. I've had people come back and apologise to me saying, you were right, I was blinded by nostalgia and this is a bad release. I wanted this to go off without a hitch because I love Battlefront. I've been playing Battlefront for almost 20 years. I've dedicated my YouTube channel for the last 10 years to it. I've uploaded thousands of videos. There's no reason why I would want this to fail. But you just can't ignore how bad it is, especially online. Of course, you can play offline and you can actually play it at least, but that's besides the point. A lot of people were purchasing this for the online component. For example, the Xbox version of the game, the original Xbox version, doesn't have multiplayer. The PC version does, but many Xbox players were purchasing it a second time to get this online experience, which is broken at launch and isn't great, especially when people were already saying that the cost is a little bit high considering how cheap the games have been on Xbox and PC. For PlayStation and Switch players, this is great because you've not been able to play it backwards compatible or something like that, but still, online is broken. Yes, you can find games, yes, you are able to play, but the games are too short, that's for sure, on the official servers at least, and you'll just go into a game and experience lagginess. You will be able to find games that do work, and you'll be able to play them completely fine. Also, private servers are completely busted in terms of frame rate, so that was another key thing many of us wanted, and Aspyr, to be fair, have put it into the game. But at this moment in time, it doesn't work very well. So basically, every time you open a private lobby, your frame rate goes from 60 to 29 FPS on console or PC, and it's not very good. And on PC, there is a way to fix it. Someone actually found this out. Basically, if you go into Steam's command line arguments and put a slash, then TPS, and then a space, and either 60 or 120, then it will run the game at that frame rate in the private server. That's how you fix this issue. And I've tested it myself, and it works. Not using this means it runs at 29 frames per second, but using 120 does fix the frame rate. There are aiming acceleration issues, dead zone issues on controller. It does really suck because in some cases, people have not had the chance to actually play these classic games before, and this is their first experience. It's not great. And on top of that, like I said earlier, some of the changes they've made to the graphics are better than the originals. The lighting has been improved in, I would say, most of the maps, and a bunch of the textures, especially when it comes to the troopers and the guns and stuff, all look much better, but in other cases, they just look worse. Thankfully, Aspyr do have a bug report form on their website, and I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. You can fill out that form with any bugs that you may come up against. Hopefully they do support this game with plenty of bug fixes and are able to get something out relatively quickly to fix things like multiplayer, because that is integral. Expecting it to be bug-free is ridiculous. That was never going to happen. But having this multiplayer component unplayable for so many people on launch day is just going to mean they probably may not come back, or it's going to take a while for them to come back. Aspyr in the past have typically released their ports with some glaring issues. This is what I've talked about before, that it has happened in the past, things like this, but they have patched various things, but they haven't been necessarily timely. Plenty of people have been able to get their games refunded. It honestly does depend how much time you spent on the game. I think typically most platforms have a 2-hour window, so if you play for less than 2 hours, you'll most likely get a refund. Honestly, this feels a bit like deja vu, given that we've lived through various Battlefront releases that have had big issues and gone worldwide and entered legal debates and things like that. And this was the one that was really meant to be one of the more simple releases. Just re-release the game that we all know and love. Don't change anything about it. I mean, the gameplay is fine, right? That's great. They haven't changed the gameplay other than some people having issues with like inverter controls and things like that, but at its core, the game is basically the same. People will say, who cares about a font? But the font that they've picked, it doesn't look great, right? Okay, even if you don't care if it doesn't look great, it doesn't fit the boxes of the UI very well in some cases, unlike the original, that worked flawlessly. Like I've said before, I don't like to be negative. I don't like making negative videos. I like to make positive videos, hence why pretty much all of my videos, all 2,000 or 3,000 of them, are mostly positive. But this is unacceptable, especially when the price is a little bit on the steep side for some people, especially for those that are playing on the Xbox and PC side of things. This is just all so frustrating, and I really, really do hope Aspyr can come out and communicate with us and address a lot of the issues publicly and say, this is what we are going to be fixing, give us a patch, when they are able to fix it in a reasonable manner, and then we'll be able to be much happier with the product that has just released, and unfortunately has once again tainted Battlefront. It's just simply a cursed franchise between cancelled games, cancelled spin-offs, launches that doom the game. It's so frustrating given that these are some of the best-selling and the best-selling Star Wars games of all time with the biggest fan base within Star Wars gaming. I would love to hear your thoughts and experience with the Classic Collection so far. If you are having a great time, fantastic. Like I said, people playing offline aren't having that many issues, but most people have purchased this for the multiplayer aspect. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please do drop a like, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos on this game, and I will keep you updated with any future news updates. If you missed any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.